Gate 3. The fire of identity reclaiming the power you handed away. By the time the current reaches the third gate, something profound has already changed. The body has begun remembering safety. Emotion has started moving instead of remaining frozen. The nervous system is no longer fighting every moment simply to survive. Now another question quietly emerges, one that has shaped the lives of almost every human being. Who is living my life? Is it the authentic self? Or is it the identity that was constructed to survive? This is the great work of the third gate. It is not the discovery of power. It is the recovery of power that has been unknowingly surrendered. Every child enters the world carrying an authentic nature. Some are adventurous, some deeply reflective, some naturally expressive, some quiet observers, some instinctively compassionate, some fiercely creative. These qualities emerge long before society tells us who we should become. Yet as life unfolds, another process quietly begins. Approval, reward, punishment, comparison, expectation. Slowly the child discovers that certain parts of themselves receive love. Other parts receive rejection. Without ever making a conscious decision, the child begins editing themselves. Not because they are false, because belonging feels essential to survival. They become the good child, the strong child, the funny child, the responsible child, the invisible child, the achiever, the rescuer, the peacemaker. Each role once served a purpose. Each role protected something vulnerable beneath it. Yet over time the role becomes so familiar that it is mistaken for identity. This is where the third gate becomes blocked. Not by weakness, by unconscious identification. The third gate governs personal authority, choice, direction, self-worth, action, purpose. It asks a question that cannot be answered intellectually. Who are you when nobody else's expectations are directing your life? Many people have never truly asked themselves this. Instead, they ask, what do others expect? What will people think? What keeps everyone happy? What avoids conflict? The authentic self quietly disappears beneath decades of adaptation. Eventually, people wake one morning and realize they have become strangers to themselves. Successful perhaps, productive perhaps, accepted perhaps, but deeply disconnected. The fire still exists. It simply burns beneath layers of conditioning. The third gate is often described as personal power. This phrase is easily misunderstood. Power is not domination. Power is not control. Power is not forcing life to obey your will. True power is inner congruence. It is the ability to remain aligned with truth even when external circumstances invite compromise. Power is integrity. The word itself reveals its meaning. Integrated, whole, nothing divided within. The opposite of power is not weakness. It is fragmentation. Part of you wants one thing. Another part wants something else. One voice longs to speak. Another fears rejection. One part seeks freedom. Another clings to familiarity. The nervous system becomes divided against itself. Enormous energy is consumed maintaining this internal conflict. The third gate asks us to stop fighting ourselves. This gate is where false identity finally begins revealing itself. False identity is not evil. It is unfinished protection. Every false belief formed around an emotional wound becomes another brick in the personality we present to the world. I must always be strong. I have to earn love. My value comes from helping everyone. If I fail, I am worthless. I must never disappoint people. I don't deserve abundance. I'll always be rejected. Notice how these are not facts. They are conclusions. Conclusions reached by younger versions of ourselves attempting to make sense of painful experiences. The child did not possess the wisdom to say, "My parents were overwhelmed." Instead, the child concluded, "Something must be wrong with me." The event ended. The conclusion remained. Years later, the adult still lives according to a story written by a frightened child. One of the greatest energy leaks occurs here. Every time we act against our own truth, energy leaves the system. Every time we say yes while meaning no, energy leaks. Every time we silence our intuition to gain approval, energy leaks. Every time we betray our values to avoid rejection, energy leaks. The leak is subtle, invisible, yet relentless. Many people describe feeling exhausted despite doing very little physically. Often the body is not tired. The psyche is. Holding together an identity that no longer reflects truth requires tremendous effort. Authenticity, by comparison, is surprisingly efficient. Truth consumes far less energy than pretending. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every day for 30 years. Eventually, the weight feels normal. Only when you finally remove it do you realize how much effort was required simply to stand. False identity functions in exactly the same way. Because we have carried it for so long, we mistake its weight for ourselves. Healing is not adding a stronger identity. Healing is laying the backpack down, not becoming someone new, returning to who existed before fear took over. The third gate also governs will. Again, this is often misunderstood. Will is not stubbornness, nor is it endless discipline. True will is the quiet capacity to remain aligned with truth despite discomfort. There will always be resistance. The nervous system prefers familiarity. Even familiar suffering often feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. This explains why people repeatedly return to unhealthy relationships, remain in unfulfilling careers, continue habits they genuinely wish to change. The familiar identity whispers, "At least you know who you are here." The authentic self whispers, "There is more." Growth requires choosing the unfamiliar often enough that it eventually becomes home. Many spiritual traditions speak about surrender. Some misunderstand this as passivity. The third gate reveals something deeper. We are not surrendering our will. We are surrendering the false identity that has been directing it. The authentic will then emerges naturally. Notice children before conditioning fully takes hold. They move toward curiosity, wonder, creation, exploration. Life naturally expresses itself through them. The authentic self still longs for these things. It has simply become buried beneath years of obligation and fear. As false identity dissolves, genuine desire begins returning. Not desire driven by ego, but desire aligned with purpose. The difference feels unmistakable. One exhausts, the other energizes. This gate is where personal responsibility also matures. Responsibility does not mean blaming ourselves for everything. It means recognizing that while we may not have chosen our wounds, we can choose whether they continue directing our future. This is a difficult truth, because victimhood often feels safer than freedom. Victimhood removes responsibility. Freedom restores it. The third gate gently invites us to stop asking, "Who made me this way?" and begin asking, "Who am I choosing to become now?" The past explains us. It does not imprison us, unless we continue giving it authority. Reprogramming this gate requires ruthless honesty, not harshness. Honesty. Every belief must eventually stand before awareness. Is this actually true? Or is this simply familiar? Who taught me this? Does this belief produce life? Or does it quietly drain it? Many beliefs collapse the moment they are sincerely questioned. They survive only because they have never been examined. The psyche often mistakes repetition for truth. If something has been thought for 30 years, it feels unquestionable. Yet repetition is not evidence. Truth remains true whether repeated or not. Falsehood merely becomes comfortable. One powerful practice within this gate is noticing every moment you abandon yourself. Not with guilt, with curiosity. Where did I silence my truth today? Where did I apologize for existing? Where did I minimize myself? Where did I seek permission that was never required? These small moments matter. Identity is not created through grand events. It is created through repeated choices. Each act of self-betrayal reinforces the old identity. Each act of authenticity strengthens the new pathway. Slowly, the nervous system begins trusting the authentic self. Not because it has become perfect, because it has become dependable. As the third gate opens, something extraordinary happens within the entire system. The upward current grows stronger. Less energy is lost maintaining masks. Less attention remains trapped in old stories. The spine begins carrying more life. the body often feels lighter. Decision-making becomes clearer. Boundaries no longer feel cruel. Saying no becomes an act of truth rather than conflict. Purpose quietly emerges. Not because it suddenly arrived, because the noise preventing it from being heard has begun dissolving. Many people spend years searching for purpose as though it exists somewhere outside themselves. Purpose is rarely found. It is uncovered. It has always been waiting beneath fear, beneath people-pleasing, beneath performance, beneath the desperate need to become someone worthy. The authentic self was never absent, only obscured. As the fire of identity becomes purified, confidence begins arising naturally. Not loud confidence, not superiority, quiet certainty, the kind that no longer requires applause, the kind that no longer argues, the kind that simply knows. I know who I am. There is tremendous peace in this. Because once identity no longer depends upon external approval, the energy leak begins closing. Power returns home. Yet the journey is far from complete. Many stop here. They become confident, successful, independent, but still subtly separate. The fire is burning brightly. Now it must learn compassion. For fire without love becomes control. Strength without tenderness becomes armor. Authority without openness becomes another prison. The river has traveled through earth. It has flowed through water. It has awakened fire. Now it rises toward the place where all opposites begin dissolving. The fourth gate, the heart. The bridge between the lower world of survival and the higher world of consciousness. For only the heart can unite what fear once divided.